Begin Planeter Survey. Orbital distance, 188,418,058 kilometers. Orbital position, 2 of 2. Magnetic field, low. Gravity, moderate, 9.8. Atmosphere composition, nitrogen-oxygen. Atmospheric value, low. Static discharge wind. Terrestrial composition, silicate water. Terrestrial value, high. Metals geothermal tidal. Life supporting, yes. Microbial, yes. Vegetation, yes. Animal, yes. Intelligent, yes. Machine, yes. End Planeter Survey. Referencing records. Hive status, none. Archotage status, none. Protected status, none. Tactical status, low. Strategic status, high. Judgment. Reclamation. Operation task. Reclamation. Operational parameters. Neutralize. Sterilize. Terraform. Extract. Standard procedures active. Known anomalies. Possible arcodic. Locate. Neutralize. Recover. Unidentifiable energy. Possible anima. Identify. Tap if present. Extract if possible. Execute.
Hello and welcome, to Rimworld. It's a new series, and one that I have spent an awfully long time putting together now. I have done a lot of testing, a lot of organizing, trying to make sure that everything was just right. And I think I put something special together here. So it's time to take it out of the garage and actually put it through its paces. So, this time around, we're going with a more futuristic colony. We're leaving behind the whole medieval concept. We're going way off into the future. And we're going to be doing our part for some grand architect AI. We're going to be taking over a planet. Now, I put out a survey a while ago asking people what they wanted to do. And of all the options I gave, which included Western themes and Viking themes and even just a regular vanilla theme, the one vote that I got was for a futuristic gray goo scenario. Now, if you're not familiar with the whole gray goo concept, it kind of goes like this. Man makes machine, man makes smaller machine, man makes nanomachine. Man makes nanomachine that can make other nanomachines. Nanomachines eat the entire planet. It's one of those classic sci-fi apocalypses that is just so very wonderful, and if you've ever seen The Day the Earth Stood Still, as well as a few other series, you know exactly what's going on here. That is the later The Day the Earth Stood Still. I don't know about the original one. The original was still the giant robot, but I don't know if they did the whole nanobots eating the world thing. Besides, the new one has Keanu Reeves in it. That just makes it better by all regards. Anyway, so we're going to get into this. We have a brand new mod pack. This one is going to be focusing on 6 or 7 core mods. First off, obviously it's going to have the Android Tiers mod. we're going to need a lot of androids. We're going to be building them constantly. I'm pretty much just going to set a bill to make androids, set that for forever, and just keep churning out androids. Just buckets of them. And if one of them dies, who cares? We take it apart, use the parts to build a new one, and get back to work. It's going to be fun. Which means that if anyone wants to leave a name in the comments, I guarantee every name that comes up will be used. I cannot guarantee how long it's going to last, but I guarantee every name will get used. On top of that, because we're going to be extracting everything of value out of this planet, we're going to be using Rimatomics so that we can use that uranium for power. We're going to be using Rimefeller so that we can draw oil out of the ground and use that for power, and we're going to need to use Rimefeller because everything that we can't extract through deep drilling, we're going to drag up to the surface to terraform the entire planet in one giant sheet of metal using the Terraform Rimworld mod. And of course, along the way, since we are being sent here by an Architect AI, we have Glittertech and Sparkling Worlds, just so that we have all of the best and shiniest toys to play with. So that's what the entire thing is be built around. As for other content going into the game, I'm going to be using the entire Vanilla Expanded suite because Vanilla Expanded is just the best mod ever. I've been using it since it started coming out, back when it was literally just a weapon mod, and I have stuck with it since. And now it is enormous, and it is fulfilling, and it scratches all of those itches that you want, and it is just the best. It's the best. It's awesome. I'm going to be using alpha biomes because we're going to be starting in one particular biome. We're going to be starting in a mechanoid incursion, mechanoid assimilation. I forget exactly what it's called, but basically it is a place that's already been started to be terraformed by the mechanoids. So there's no dirt, no trees, no nothing. It is literally just metal, and that's going to be important coming up in just a minute. Anyway, using Embrasures, simply more bridges, expanded prosthetics, EPOE specifically, because we are going to have a person, and that person is going to want to be a machine too. I guarantee it. Don't ask me how I know, but I do know. Utility columns, I've never played with it, but I like the idea of it. It may allow me to make larger rooms than just the normal 12 that you need before you have to start putting in supports. And it could be fun. I've never used it. Mend and Recycle I'm using as a staple. I always have Mend and Recycle. I see no reason why, if we can craft something, why can't we fix it? Why do I have to melt it down and build a new one? Just let me fix things. That should be part of Vanilla too, as far as I'm concerned. More floors, just because I like to have options, and wall lights because they are the best lights. And then I have a whole list of quality of life mods that I'm not going to go through. Most of them just deal with pawn interactions and priorities. I'll list everything in the description. So, that being said, let's go ahead and get into this. So, we're going to go with Crash Landed, but we're going to be using Prepare Carefully, so it doesn't really matter. So, yeah, we can just skip that. No, I don't need to edit the scenario. I'm going to go with Cassie, and I'm going to go with the Strive to Survive, and there's a reason for that. I know most people like to go immediately for losing is fun, because why not? Just make everything just as hard as it can possibly be. Two reasons for this. Number one is once you hit Blood and Dust and losing is fun, they start taking away resources from you. Because if you could mine 10 pieces of steel with Strive for Survive, with Blood and Dust, you only get like 8. And with Losing is Fun, you only get 5. And I don't agree with that. I don't think you increase difficulty by simply taking things away from the player. That, and there's a new custom option. And down here, we can actually adjust the threat scaling. So, Strive to Survive is the default. It's 100. You want to set it to Losing is Fun? It goes up to 220. But see, everything else goes down. And I think that's just wrong. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start with just regular strive to survive. And I'm just going to go up here and set this here. And if it turns out to be too easy, which I don't think it will be, and I'll get into that too, then we can simply adjust the threat scaling and we can improve it that way. The other reason is going to be that we're going to be dropping in with 3 pawns, and I'm just going to go ahead and do this. Reclamation. There we go. I spelled that wrong. There we go. Now it's spelled right. So, we're going to do that. I was going to get into the pawns. One other thing first. We're not going to do this. Global coverage, 30%. We would be here all day because we have a very specific set of goals here. As it said, we are going to sterilize, or we're going to neutralize, sterilize, terraform, and then extract. That means that we are going to wipe out every single other faction on the planet. We're just going to wipe them off the face of this earth. And as such, if we leave it here at 30%, we're going to be at this all day. Now, as you saw, we are one of 12 teams. And so, 100 divided by 12 is a really, really unhappy and uncomfortable number. But if we divide it 100 divided by 6 is roughly 16 and a half, which means that divided by 12 is going to be roughly 8 and a quarter, give or take. But I'm going to go ahead and round that up to a 10% world. Yeah. And hopefully the mechanoid incursion will be here. So let's go ahead and generate that, see what happens. And if not, then I may have to just pick something else. But there should be something. Alright, so here we go. There's the planet. This is the part of the planet that we are responsible for. Remember, we are one of 12 other teams. Well, 11 other teams. We make 12. And so we're responsible for cleaning all of this up. Now, using Prepare Landing, do we have any of the mechanoid intrusion? Resulted in 0 tiles. Well, that's unfortunate. Okay. So, in that case, where are we going to land? Or do we just want to try it again? I could try it again. Yeah, let's go back. Why not? Randomize seed. And we'll just keep randomizing seeds until we get it. So, prepare landing. Nope, nothing there. Try it again. I'd rather not make the world any bigger to try and get this to happen, but if we need to, we can. Prepare landing. Filter? Nope. Alright, let's try making the world a little bit bigger then. That could make for a longer game, but then again, you know, it shouldn't be too bad. So let's bump this up to 15%. We'll see what happens there. And nuke. That's ominous. And prophetic, because we're going to be using them. Prepare landing. Filter? Still nothing? Alright. How about this? Let's go 20%. Let's try that. I don't want to get any bigger than 20%, though, because this could end up being a very long game. And I don't want it to be too long. Alright, we already got that. So, prepare landing. Filter? 0 tiles. Okay. Well, give me just a minute and I'm going to work this out. Okay, so here we go. I had to go back and change a couple of settings. And I hope I didn't break anything in the process, because part of my world is missing. It's just not here. and I don't entirely understand it. But anyway, now that we're here, I actually have some options. So, 7 options of places to land. Let's take a look at them. All of them are down here. None of them are really anything special, but that's exactly the kind of place that I want to land. Now, we are at, like, I think it was 17 or 18% of the planet, which is a lot of ground for us to cover. And we don't actually have to terraform all of it. We just have to get rid of everything that's going to be in the way of our terraforming efforts. We're going to bunny hop our way across, and once we get started, everything should just keep on ticking along as it was before. So, now that we know where we're landing, it's time to get to work. And I think, just for the novelty of it, I'm actually going to come right back here on the coast. Because all of these are ancient metal. Nothing really changes on them. I mean, some of them do have some hills. But still, we're going to go right here. Next. Alright, here's where we're going to go to Prepare Carefully. I've got a preset already set. The Reclamation team. And here we are. Now, obviously, we have some robots with us. Our robots really aren't anything special. In fact, they're really not anything special. And because we're going to be landing with a person on a mechanoid tile, here's where things are going to get difficult. No food. Which means that as soon as we land, this person is going to be in cryptosleep, which means we're not actually going to have 3 people to start off with. We're only going to have 2. 2 Tier 1 androids. And let me tell you, Tier 1 androids are garbage. They really are. So it's going to be hard. And because I know exactly who put in the suggestion for this, we're going to rename this person. First off, Yoon is going to be a boy. And secondly, Yoon is going to be a Mark. Which you might have already seen earlier. And Mark is going to be a lore keeper, which is going to allow Mark to use the anima sources as a native. And, as I said, transhumanist. Totally random. Don't know how that came up. But we're going to plug robot parts onto him at some point. Equipment, again, no food. We're going to be starting with some anti-mech rifles, which are not the greatest rifles, but I figure that if we're being sent by an architect, we should be sent by architect weapons. And it's not really an architect weapon, but it fits having, androids hold them. So, let's go. Alright, and here we are. We are down on the planet. We have Mark tucked away in his little cryptosleep casket. We have our robots. And now, it's time to get to work. So this is kind of interesting. I've never actually done a mechanoid incursion on a beach before. I wasn't expecting to have a beach. So that's cool. As you can see, there is otherwise no soil for growing on. It's metal, metal, more metal, and then for some flavor, also metal. And so I need to find a place for us to build a base. Obviously, given that we are machines, the most important thing for us is going to be power. And that means that we need to plan things out a little bit. We want to build near these geysers, I think. And there are 5 of them on the map. Looks like none of them are terribly close. But this one here is close to this Helixian gas geyser, which we can't use now, but we could use it in the future. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and do just a little bit of planning here. So I'm going to go 14 by 14. That makes 1 room. Around that geyser. No supports needed. I'm going to do the same thing for this one, just so we have a little bit of planning ahead of us. And then we'll just connect them. So we have a central area that we can start building on. And then we can do the same thing up here in these corners. Now, this is a pretty standard base design that I like to use because it functions so well. It's not usually very pretty, but it is efficient. And the one thing that I can use this for is because with having robots, they don't need bedrooms. All they need is a place to recharge, which is nice. Now, we don't have a whole lot of power options to begin with. We have wind turbines. We're going to have to make that work. And I'm thinking, can I make this work? It's not quite wide enough. But I think that we can expand this out a little bit so we can have a couple of wind turbines. I'll make this the central area that we'll work in right now, and we'll just expand from there. So looking at this, oh, I still need that back. Hold on. So we'll put one there like that. Let me just copy this over so I can actually see. If I paste that there, there's a little bit of a walkway through there. We just need to extend this wall out a little bit once we get there. And so I'm going to go ahead and allow everything on the map. And then we're going to get to work. So putting that there, they're going to start bringing in resources. Make sure everything is good here. Since they are robots, we are just going to turn everything on because they don't sleep, they don't eat, they don't do anything. They just work. And so now we just turn them loose. One of the first things we need to do is make sure that this thing gets moved over here. I'll go ahead and speed everything up. Oh, I forgot the rifles. Make sure that you guys have your rifles. That way, just in case. Anything that comes up to you, I want you to attack it. We only need one of those right now. And one of the more important things that we're going to need starting out is, because I can't make recharging stations yet, we'll need charging caskets. All of that stuff is going to be under Android tiers, well, Android pods, okay. Now, eventually, I will be able to research charging stations. And that means that everyone in the colony will be able to recharge from one point. But we don't have that starting out. In fact, we don't have anything Android-related starting out. That's going to have to be a priority for us. And if we ever want to get Mark out again, we're also going to need to learn how to do hydroponics. Alright, so windmills up and running. We are on limited time because their batteries are only going to last so long. So go ahead, get that installed. Let's put a roof over this. Because otherwise everything will short out, and that'll be bad. That will be bad for us. Alright, that's done. Now, androids, we need 2 pods. Let's make sure those are of normal quality. Another thing that's going to be very, very important here is our robots are very garbage, but very important because these pods are not easy to build. They require a construction of 8 to build. And I only have one robot with a high enough construction to do that. His is a 3. I have one building bot and one crafting bot. Anything happens to one or the other, and we're sunk. So I'm going to set them both to use the batteries. And we're going to need protection here. There's a survival meal here. Why is there a survival meal here? I don't know. But hey, that just means that when Mark wakes up, he has something to eat. And that's good. So, it's getting dark. Like I said, the nice thing, though, is that they don't sleep. And they don't care about darkness. In fact, they don't care about anything. Their moods are just... They never really mentally break. They can. But it's really hard to break a Tier 1 android. Don't worry, though. I'm sure that they will at some point. I have also made a few adjustments to the actual mods, just to make things a little bit harder. The normal mod for the Android tiers, if there's ever a solar flare, it bumped them down to 60% of their consciousness, which was enough to really hamper them. But it didn't really affect them in any other way, and I always had a problem with that. So I went through and tinkered with a bit of the mod code, and I've actually bumped it up to an 80% penalty, meaning that if we get a solar flare, I can talk, I can do that. If we get a solar flare, they're dropping. And if they have like bad processors, you know, the equivalent of a brain, they might actually die from a solar flare. And I think that that is a lot better. It adds a new layer of complexity, because at any minute, the colony could just be shut down, and that would leave us at the mercy of everything. But then again, as the planetary scan showed, we knew that coming in. Can't really blame anyone else but ourselves. Alright, everything is getting brought in. That's good. So, I want to go ahead, and he's cleaning now, so that means that everything's brought in that can be brought in. So, I want to go ahead and get this done now. How wide is this? 9. Lovely. That's perfect. That means that I can put a door right smack dab in the middle. I love symmetry. Alright, go ahead and get that built. Fantastic. Good job, guys. You're not good for much, but you are good for a few things. Alright, production. It's time to get research going, because before we can do anything, we need to know how to do it. Now, neither of these bots are particularly good at research, but that's fine because they'll do it constantly. And we do have a few options when it comes to research. Do we want to build more robots first? Do we want to work on hydroponics? I'm not sure. I think, however, basic robotics is... Oh, well, we can't get basic robotics. We would need microelectronics. Okay. So, I guess that's the way to go then. Microelectronics. So we're going to get to work on that. One other thing that I want to get going on, I want an electric smelter. Our power is not very reliable, but when we do have it, I want to be using it. And the map is absolutely littered with metal slag. Yeah, there's over 1,200 pieces of metal slag. And since steel is going to be our primary building material for everything, I want to make sure that we have a fair amount of it. So, I want to smelt metal from slag. I want to do until we have... let's say until we have 200. Which we do, so I'm not too worried about that. At this moment, they are just going to go ahead and get this research done. Let's go ahead and make a steel filing cabinet. Let's make sure that's normal. And it's going to be a careful balancing act given the wind turbines. In fact, let's go ahead and make the other wind turbine. And in fact, I think instead of doing microelectronics first, let's do batteries first. Batteries should go pretty quick. Should, anyway. That way we have a more constant supply of power. So that's not connected by anything. We'll do that and make sure that they're connected. He really wants to sleep, but he can't. It's kind of funny in a sad way. Alright, now that we have two of those, right now this is being hampered by these trees. So let's just get rid of these while we can. I don't think that they even give wood, because they're mechanoid trees. Yeah, it was once a tree. It's not anymore. You chop so slowly. You have no idea what to do with a tree, do you? No, no, you do not. Oh, we did get some wood from that. Oh, and you know what I think I'm going to do? Because we are on the green team, we took the green pods, I think I want us to be green. Because that's an option. So, whenever that happens. Alright, no more obstructions for you, no more obstructions for you. And we're getting repainted. Boom, just like that. We are the green team. It's a silly little thing, but since we have nothing else going on, it's the little things that count. A visitor. So, this is one of the things that I'm going to have to kind of keep an eye on, because there is the possibility that we could come across new colonists, and we're not really set up for it. Like, if we had a colonist join us right now, I have no idea what we're doing with them. We already have one person that we can't feed. We sure can't take on another. It's one of those things that we'll deal with as we go. And this room being 9 across... Well, actually, it's only 7 on the inside. Either way, though, this is kind of a perfect room to turn into hydroponics when we get to that point. Oh, and you guys research so slowly. But that's okay. Because I think what I'm going to do is... This is getting a little bit long already. And so... I'm going to go ahead and take a break here. I'm going to let them finish up this research unless something interrupts them. And go ahead and leave something in the comments, because this place is going to need a name, and granted, it has a very fancy, very long designation given to us by the Architect AI, but if we want to nickname it, we can. So leave your ideas for names in the comments. If you'd like to be a robot, go ahead and leave that in the comments too. And anything that's left, I will review it. And hopefully I see something before we come back next time. So, this is going to be a good start to a very long and hopefully prosperous campaign. And until then, take care.